Look at the Athletics.
Leaping at the wall, it's gone! A towering drive into center field by Rooker.
And 29 other MLB clubs.
A judging blast. All rise. Here comes the judge.
Swung on, hit high, hit deep to right, away back into the second deck.
Bobby Witt Jr. becomes the first shortstop in Major League history to have two 30-30 seasons.
Shohei Ohtani starts the 50-50 club.
Join us as we take you inside the baseball universe, from humidors to walk-off dingers to Hall of Fame talk. We have you covered. Spend your afternoon with us, only on A's Cast Live. Here's Chris Townsend.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another edition of A's Cast Live as the ball club is back out on the road in Houston, Texas for a quick two-game set. We have a great show for you today, taking you up to Johnny D and Chris Carey, and then, of course, A's Cast on NBC, where I will be with my man Shooty Babbitt for a half hour, getting you ready for a little A's baseball. We have a lot to get into. Cody, what do we got today?
All right, well, starting off the show in about 10 minutes, we're going to have Bob Nightengale, our friend from the USA Today. He's actually in Arizona covering Pirates Diamondbacks because, you know, that's a late May matchup that everyone was thinking about this year. So Bob will be here at 2:40. 3 o'clock, we have Geoff Blum, the World Series champion, World Series hero, Cal Bear, and Astros television broadcaster. He'll stop by at 3 o'clock. We have Johnny D from, I don't even know how to say the new park. Is it Daikin Park in Houston? I know it's on Enron. It's on Enron anymore.
It will always be Enron Field to me.
Johnny will be coming on at 3:30, and then at 3:43-ish, we have Jed Lowrie, who you and Steve Sachs taped over the weekend, 2018 All-Star, 14-year MLB veteran, and A's great, Jed Lowrie, 3:43-ish.
So yesterday, Memorial Day, hope everybody had a great Memorial Day. Obviously, Memorial Day is a day that we remember the men and women who have lost their lives serving our country. It's not about barbecue and ribs and steaks. That's what Memorial Day is about, and I hope everybody had a very safe and fun Memorial Day. I was looking up some stuff. So when you go to Baseball Reference, they still call it Minute Maid Park, Houston.
Interesting, because they switched it this year. I think it's the first year. I think it's Daikin Park, Daiken. Blummer might be able to get into the no one probably cares, but they switched the name from Enron to Minute Maid to.
Is it Daikin? It could be the way it could be Dakin.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't watched a lot of Astros games. I know now that, you know, I'm not a closet Astro fan anymore. All the guys I liked are gone, essentially, except for Altuve. So I haven't really watched a lot of Astro games. Hunter Brown's pitching tonight, and he's been fantastic for the Astros. He's a guy that could be a Cy Young contender for this year in the American League. If it wasn't for Tarek Skubal and how great he's been for the Tigers. He had complete game the other day, 2 hits, 13 strikeouts, and 94 pitches. So he went to Maddox. I remember telling you and Sachs that in Sacramento, he was impressive, but Hunter Brown's been very impressive for the Astros this year.
Do you know who Dakin is?
Is he some kind of Houston tycoon, maybe? I don't know.
A leader global manufacturer of air conditioning and refrigeration equipment.
Well, he went from Enron, which was gas and fuel, to Minute Maid, which is, well, orange juice.
It's a drink.
Until now you go to air conditioning. That makes sense.
A leading global manufacturer.
Jeffrey Crane knows what he's doing.
All right, did some numbers. Diamond note number 1. This is a big mountain to climb. The A's need to be 500 if we're going to act like they're still in this thing. I'm going to give them 70 games. We're 54 games in, a third of the way. August 15th is 70 games. I'm giving them to August 15th. Do you know what their record has to be 500 on August 15th?
Ooh, well, you did the math. We counted it up on the way up here. They have 23 wins now, 70 games. So that day would have to be 30. So it has to be 35. So it'd be 57 and 57.
43 and 27 will get you to 500.
Is it 57 and 57? 500? Just doing my quick math there. You have to go. That's essentially a 15 games over 500. No, 16 games over 500 pace to get to the 500 mark.
It's the hill you got to climb, right? So if you got to win 43 games, you got 23 in the bank now. That puts you at 66. And you have 27 losses. You only have 27 losses. Actually, I don't think my math's right.
So you're going to go 44 and what do you say? So 44 and 36.
So they got 7 right now.
Because you're 8 under right now. So 44 and 36. Because you're 8 under, that's 8 over right there.
So is my math right? They got to be 43 and 27.
No, you have to add games. You have to add about 9 games to that.
You got to win. You got to win 8
You got to go
games.
40. So 43. Because you have 22 wins right now. So you get to 66. You got to go 40.
You got 23 wins.
Yeah. So you got to go 40, 43 and 36.
Oh, that's what I did wrong.
Right? 27 plus 9, would be 36.
Let's see. We're doing math right now.
2 guys who graduated college years ago.
We're doing math. 36 and 31. That'd be 67. 43 and 20. Now that would still be a game under 500. I guess we don't have the even number. We wouldn't have the even number of games. We got to figure.
Well, no, 70 games. So it would be. That's an even.
And there are 54.
Yeah.
So what is the number? Figure it out. What do we have? We got to be 500 by August 15th.
So we have 20. We have 23 wins.
23 wins.
So if you win 35 games, that's.
Because I know a lot of people will sit there and they will tell you that you've got to be 500 by August 1st.
25 and 35 would be 58 wins. So I could do when Nightengale comes on. I'll figure it out. That'll give me more time.
So I understand the thinking that you've got to be by August. I'm giving the team a little leeway, and I'm saying they got to be 500 by August 15th. So it gives you an idea of the mountain that needs to be climbed if this is going to be something we're talking about the postseason. We've got to set the goal. We got to look at it. We'll talk to Mark Kotze about it this week. Obviously, the numbers will change by the time we talk to him on Friday. But this is the deal. You got to be for us to be interested and saying this season is still legit. You've got to be 500 by August 15th and a month and a half of baseball left.
Yeah.
You're at that point. You can really say, if they just keep losing games, we go into full development mode.
So essentially, the rest of the way you got to play 8 games over, just because you're 8 under, right?
You're 8 under right now.
You got to finish 8 games over in those 70 games. So that would be those 70 games essentially. That's including tonight. So you want to be 8 over. So like I said, it's 35 and 35 is 500. So if you want to be 8 over, you want to be 43 and 35, right? That would be.
So if you win 43 games and you have 23,
that's 66.
That's 66.
And then you have 31 losses now, and you lose 35.
35.
That's 66.
Yep, that's correct. So they got to go 43 and 35.
Yep. My California University of Pennsylvania education pays off.
Well, there you go. That's all you need to know. That's the season right there. You got 70 games to go 43 and 35.
Doable. You're playing a lot of American League teams coming up. No, you're not playing a lot of Phillies, Mets, Padres.
You are not seeing the National League, who has absolutely drilled you, until July 4th.
Which is the Giants. Yeah. Right? Giants. Yeah, that weekend. Yeah. So a lot of American League games coming up. We already finished the White Sox, but you still have to play other teams. You know, the Pirates are later in the year, so you're looking for bottom. So you got to make your grind up in the American League teams. You're going to play the Angels a lot more, and they've kind of scuffled now after playing the Marlins and Yankees after the winning streak against us. So here's your shot to make up for it. And, you know, there's obviously right now it hurts a little bit because of the Nick Kurtz news, but I think they could do it. Jacob Wilson's been a guy mentioned in the ESPN did an article today about American League MVP guys, and he was 5th or 6th on the list. Just by the index that ESPN created, he was mentioned there. Obviously, Aaron Judge is the front runner in the American League, hitting 398 or whatever he's up to now.
Yeah, he's just under 400. But that's it right there. Next 70 games, the mountain to climb is 43 and 35. Look up on August 15th. If they're 500, we got something to talk about. If they keep on losing, we go into development mode. It's bottom line.
Yeah, and we're seeing some of the guys that are coming up now. Like we're seeing Denzel Clark, which is nice. But, Willie McIver is 28, and Logan Davidson, who I'm very – obviously, if you watch or listen to the show, you know how much I've been wanting to see him here. He's 27. So looking for younger guys might be the thing, but these are the guys you have right now. And they were impressive on Sunday for sure.
Yeah, you needed something magical to happen and to get the losing streak, and that's exactly what happened. If you were watching the games, it was a storybook where you got Willie McIver, who's 28 years old, who would get his first career hit, first career RBI, was the game winner, and he'd throw the runner out at second. Rojas, I mean, pretty incredible. And then Logan Davidson at 27 years old had a pretty rough debut the night before, and he has the double and 2 RBIs at 2 hits. So your guys that have been career minor leaguers at 28 and 27, they came up and did the damage. It was a magical ending.
Yeah, we can play.
That's what they needed.
We can play the video highlights maybe when we come back from break, because I have the walk-off, or I have the go-ahead hit and McIver throwing out Rojas to end the game. But we do have Bob Nightengale, I believe.
Bob, are you there?
I'm here. Hey, buddy.
How are things?
Good. I'm back in Phoenix. There's a little Chicago, a little New York. Here, then go to LA.
Well, since you're down in Arizona, we'll start out in the West. We're talking about we're a third of the way through. The West was supposed to be, the Dodgers were unbeatable. It's everybody's still hanging around, whether you're the Padres, the Giants, or the D-backs. Dodgers have so many pitchers that are hurt. They're pitching more bullpen innings than anybody else. Even though the Dodgers are in first place, are you shocked a third of the way in how vulnerable they are?
Very surprised. I mean, they look like they did at the end of last year when they don't have any pitching. I mean, after Yamamoto, just such a big drop off, and no Snell, no Glass now, none of that stuff. So yeah, I mean they're very vulnerable. It's amazing they're it's still in first place, to tell you the truth. I think Dave Roberts does a remarkable job, considering they're using the bullpen as pitch mornings in the starting rotation by far.
Shohei Ohtani's starting to throw to hitters. What do you think we're going to see from him the rest of the way?
I think we'll see him around August. They're taking their sweet time. I think he could pitch right now if they wanted to. I think they're saving the bullets. Like, you know what? Let's keep him until we really need him. We don't really need him right now. We're gonna take our sweet time. So I think that's what's going on. Just a kind of biding their time with him, and say, you know what, we want a fresh arm, and come September. So I think he'll pitch some in August, more in September, and then ready to go, in whatever role in October.
Out of the Padres, Giants, and D-backs, who are you most surprised about?
Giants. I didn't see them having this kind of record. I thought, okay, if things go well, 81, 85 wins. I still think that might be the case. I think they were playing, well above expectations, maybe playing over their head. We'll see how long it lasts. But I think of those teams, the 4 teams, they're surprised, that the fact they're, pushing the Dodgers like they are.
Yeah, the Padres got off to such a great start. All of a sudden, they're not hitting anymore.
No, it's amazing. I mean, just 3 runs in 45 innings. That has been done since the Padres in 1972. It's amazing. They all hit a cold snap at the same time. The rotation kind of got beat up a little bit. Even their bullpen, which is so good, got hit around. Still a very good team. I mean, you can still make the argument that there's top 3 teams in the National League.
Yeah, it's so bunched up. It's interesting. You're in Arizona. You're going to be covering that series with the Pirates. What's going on with Torey Lovullo and the D-backs?
Yeah, I mean, on the flip end, if you want to go teams that are surprising as far as disappointments, they're certainly among the top 5 disappointments. There's no way they should have a 500 record with that, with the team they have, the offense they have, and they're loaded. So, yeah, it's a surprise that they're kind of meddling around. I still expect them to take off here at some point. they just have way too much talent to play as mediocre as they have.
You know, speaking of disappointments, it's interesting how the Braves have rallied, and they're now back in this thing, and they got a big series against Philly coming up. The Juan Soto is just it's alarming how bad he has been lately, hitting well under 200 X amount of games. His ground ball rate's way up. What do you make of Juan Soto dealing with the contract?
Yeah, before the season started, I thought he was going to be the most disappointing player. I just think people's expectations got way too high. And the reason I say that, Chris, is, I saw the Padres a lot when he was there. The only season he was there for a full season, he didn't make the playoffs. He had some problems in the clubhouse where guys weren't too crazy about him. Bob Melvin wasn't crazy about him. So, I don't buy the fact that it's, brand new team. I mean, he's already in New York. It's not like he's, Devin Williams going from Milwaukee to New York. He's already there. The difference is the contract and stuff. But, I think people expect him to be Aaron Judge, not even close.
Yeah, last 14 games, he's hitting 137. So at what point do you think in New York there will be panic over the contract?
It probably already happened. Yeah, I think it's happening now. 15 years of it. He had bad body language in the against the Yankees. But you talk to guys on the team and stuff, a lot of times he'll take the last bus in. Doesn't interact a whole lot with his teammates, more with handlers than anything else. So, yeah, I'm sure he's got to get, used to it too. But, yeah, just surprised that, going from New York is one thing if you're going from San Diego to New York. But since he was already there, I think that's a big bit of a surprise. How was he in Washington? Well, he was loved there, but, he was so young and everything else. It's, plus you're in Washington, it's kind of a small market, wasn't much, media around. Yeah, they did well. Obviously won the World Series in 19, but he was a beloved there. You didn't hear anything, kind of quiet guy. You didn't really hear much about him, but, I'm not sure if he really let people inside his inner circle either. Before he got traded to San Diego, and he kind of kept himself there too. We just saw the Phillies up in West Sacramento, and obviously they're going to need to go get bullpen help. But are you buying that the Phillies are the best team in baseball in the National League? I'm not. I mean, they're still a very good team. Great rotation. The only thing that, I kind of pause at, Chris, is the same story every year. It's the same lineup. And when that lineup gets shut down in postseason, it's very easy to pitch to. I also love having a good bullpen. How many of Dave Dombrowski's teams have come back to haunt them because they haven't had that? They don't have that lights-out closer. Losing Alvarado to PD suspension really hurts them. So, if they do have the best team, it's close. I'd probably still take, even with all the injuries, take the Dodgers over them. Like I said, love the rotation. And, the lineup just seems so hit and miss so often. Who are you more surprised about in the Central, the Cubs or the Cardinals? And the Cardinals. I didn't think the Cubs would be this good. I didn't think you'd have a runaway best offense in the game. But the Cardinals, this was a rebuild. I mean, you thought, okay, if they're lucky, they win 75 games if everything goes right. And I don't expect this to last. They're not that good. Credit to Ollie Marmol to playing it as well as they have. Because the trouble is, at the deadline, they're still going to start dumping players. They really don't want to win. It's like that movie Major League where the players are winning despite the front office. So I'm not sure how long it'll last, but it's amazing what they've done.
Hey, Bob, I got a question for you. It's Cody. The biggest story, probably outside of Juan Soto going on, we're talking about teams with large contracts, is the Rafael Devers situation in Boston. He doesn't want to play third base. They didn't talk to him. Now he's DHing. He doesn't even bring his glove to the park anymore. Now Bregman's out potentially for 2 months. What do you see the resolution being with the Red Sox, with Devers and the team? Yeah, it seems like you're so hard-headed about it that he won't move back. It's like, wait a minute, now you wanted to be there, and now you refuse to go back. Hey, when you sign your contract, you're signing a contract with the team, not to play a particular position. Look how many guys have moved around.
I mean, Bryce Harper went to first base. Aaron Judge went from right field to center field. Freddie Freeman went to third base for a while. So you see it all the time. So at some point they say, hey, you about winning or just about yourself? So, they could force it in if they wanted to and say either you're going to play third baseman or not. If you don't, you're suspended. They're not going to do that. But I do think he needs to, play a position in the field and finally just say to him, hey, it's your choice, third base or first base. It's way too young just to be a full-time DH now.
How do you think it plays out long-term with them, the contract?
I mean, the way it's gone, you kind of wonder, okay, are they going to listen to trade offers? Wouldn't shock anybody to see them listen to offers in the off season. I'm not sure that they're not get what they want, but particularly with that kind of money still owed to them. But I think he's turned off people in that clubhouse and in the fan base by just acting the way he has. I understand there's probably bad communication and who knows what they said, but you got to be flexible. The team needs you to move to first base or third base, you do it. Hey, you were just a third baseman a couple months ago. It's not like you forgot how to play the position.
And there's a lot of years left on this deal, Bob. If they go out and try and trade him, are there going to be a lot of people who want this contract well into his late 30s? Or would the Red Sox have to pony up a lot of money? Like, how do you think that would go down?
Yeah, I'm not sure they have to pony up a lot of money, but I think they not get much back. It's not like you can get a bunch of prospects like in the Juan Soto trades with San Diego, then the Yankees. So I don't think they get close to what they want. And you got to think too, hey, his value has plummeted because everybody else has seen the same thing as we're talking about. Like, do we really want this guy on our team if he refuses to switch positions? We really need him to. So his trade value certainly has gone down.
Bob, there's a topic that's going around lately in the baseball world, and it's involving Jacob deGrom. I know he had the decent start yesterday without any strikeouts, but the talk of him and potentially making a late run for the Hall of Fame. We know the pitching is going to be evaluated differently going towards pitchers in the Hall of Fame going forward because of the way pitchers are not pitching deep in the games, the strikeouts, the wins. Do you think deGrom at 88 career wins, as we speak right now, has a shot at making the Hall of Fame, or is this just a bunch of nonsense talking about him being a Hall of Famer?
You know what, Cody? I think you'd have to win at least 2 more Cy Youngs to be in that conversation. I mean, just such a light total. Felix Hernandez, outstanding career. They didn't get the run support. And he has a light win total. But when you're talking about less than 100 wins, I mean, when you talk about John Lester, I think he's at 200, 201. Adam Wainwright's around there. I'm not sure they're Hall of Famers. You're talking about twice as many wins. I know people don't regard the wins like they used to. But you talk to any starting pitcher, hey, it's all about wins. Greg Maddux used to say there's nothing more important. You stop pitch the other guy. Wins meant everything to guys like him. So I think you'd have to put up lights out numbers through the rest of his career. At least, if not 1 more Cy Young award, at least 2 more. Yeah,
it's going to be crazy someday, Bob. Like, how do we get guys into the Baseball Hall of Fame who pitch? I mean, we're dinosaurs, right? Our era of how we judge guys. We used to look at 300 wins. Now we're begging for 200 wins. You're talking about guys not even getting 100 wins. So, like, when we've retired, Bob, and we're out of this game, what do you think it will even be like to evaluate pitchers to get them a plaque in Cooperstown?
Well, people are going such on the short-term thing, like Johan Santana. I covered Johan Santana. Hey, a great pitcher, first, but too short. Hey, Brett Saberhagen won 2 Cy Young awards. I covered him, but I never thought it was a Hall of Famer. David Cohn had some great years. But yeah, you gotta be more than that. You gotta have Verlander type numbers or Max Scherzer type numbers. Like I said, I'm not sure Lester gets in or Adam Wainwright gets in, but those are good case studies because they're at 200 wins. But we haven't even let Tommy John in there. And what's he got? 284, 286 wins. It's unbelievable.
And the no decisions is insane. It's like 80-something no decisions.
Yeah. Plus you have a surgery named after you, and you changed everything with that. So, no, absolutely. I think John should be in. I really do. But I think that's how how tough it is to get in the Hall of Fame.
Let's end.
Santana's career was amazing.
Oh, no doubt about it. Let's yeah. I mean, his 5-7 year run was just. I mean, he was as good as anybody in baseball. If you're going to put DeGrom in, I mean, how do you not put in Johan Santana? Let's end on this. The A's right now are 23-21. I'm saying they got to be. I know people talk about August 1st. You need to be 500. I'm going to give them till August 15th. They'd have to play 43-35 to get there. What does that? Do you have a legitimate chance? And can you talk playoffs if you're at 500 on August 15th?
Well, you can. You just got to look back to last year. Look at the Detroit Tigers, and they gave up at the trade deadline. They traded Jack Flaherty in I don't know what they were August 15th, but it had to be right around 500, if not below, and they made the playoffs. So certainly it's possible, particularly with the extra playoff bursts like they have these days.
Now the Detroit, and by the way, is that is the Javi Baez? What they continue to do in Detroit, is that the best story we got going in our game?
It's a good one. I mean, I think people get carried away a little bit. It's not the Javi Baez of old, but at least they're getting something out of them, which they didn't get anything before. They're talking about a guy they wanted to release, and now he's playing well. So that's a good one. I still, hey, Patrick Corbin, he had the most losses the last 3 years. Feels like he's going to retire. Mainstay for Texas Rangers, and then how about Drew Pomeranz? He's been on baseball for 4 years. He hasn't given a run yet, with Chicago Cubs.
Bob, always the best. Thank you for your time, buddy. Be well and enjoy this series down in Arizona.
All right, my pleasure.
The great Bob Nightengale right here on A's Cast Live. Love having Bob on.
The Tigers were 59-63 on August 15th last year. So they were 4 games under 500.
What was that again?
59-63. And remember, they went on a hell of a run to finish the season 86-76.
With no pitching.
Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification right here on A's Cast. Coming up next, the World Series champion and Astros TV broadcaster and good friend of this program, the Cow Bear, Geoff Blum, joins us next right here on A's Cast Live.
Here's the pitch to Tyler. Swung on, drilled to right, way back. Martini at the track. He will turn and watch it fly.
That swung on, drive to deep right field. Going back, Palacios, and it is gone.
To payoff pitch, and Soderstrom.
A's Cast Live continues from NBC Sports. Here's Chris Townsend.
Do we have the World Series hero, the former Cal Bear, the Cal Bear that played in the College World Series? We have him.
Oh, you better believe it.
Blummer, how are you, buddy?
I'm good. How you doing, Towny?
We're doing well. It's great to have you back on the program. First third of the season, how are things going for you there in Houston?
They're boring, to be honest with you. I mean, I know that we should be all excited and saying that we're a game and a half back, but we're very similar, but in opposite ways to the Athletics in the sense that we've played great at home. On the road, totally different story. So it's just hugging that 500 line makes life pretty boring, to be honest.
What is it? Teams, and we've seen it with the Astros in the past where they struggled at home, but they were great on the road. The A's were seeing that they're seeing it right now. What is it about teams that struggle either on the road or at home? It's just like why?
Yeah, I think it's a little more unique, obviously, for the Athletics than it was for the Astros during those years when they were okay at home but great on the road, because the whole idea is play 500 on the road, win as many games as you possibly can at home in front of your hometown fans, and everything's hunky-dory. But for those years with the Astros, there was almost a little bit of an edge to those teams, to use the new kid slang, they had that swagger about them when they went into these ballparks. So they kind of enjoyed being the heel or being, like in the WWE where you just have that bad guy that everybody loves to hate, yet they perform well. That's kind of how the Astros were. But this season it's flipped a little bit. But I would imagine for the Athletics, maybe being in a hotel and playing at some nicer stadiums. I don't think that's a dig at what's going on at Sacramento. Maybe gets these guys going a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah, well, you got to win at home. We talked with we didn't, but Aaron Judge said it because Aaron Judge had played in West Sacramento, playing at Fresno State. They had played there before, and he goes, "Listen, we've played in the cornfield a couple times in Iowa. We played in Tokyo. You think about the Dodgers have played in South Korea. They've played in Australia. We've been to Japan. Like, hey man, you got to strap it on no matter where you play, and you got to bring it."
Well, I think that's kind of the point where you're at now. You're getting towards the end of 2 months. So you've had time on the road to figure it out. You've had time at home to figure it out, whatever it may be, in order to go out there and win ball games. And if you've got the talent to win on the road like the A's do, you would assume that would be able to translate at home. But I think that between the Tampa Bay Rays and what the Athletics are going through, it's kind of interesting to see how similar those teams are as far as what they're doing in their new home ballparks compared to what they're doing on the road. Because, watching what the Astros did when they went into Tampa, I know they lost 2 out of 3, but at the same time, their attitude was a little bit different, knowing that they're going to play in this environment for just 3 games and then they're going to get out of there. I think it's different when you know that you're in it for the long haul. And to your point, I think that's where part of that professionalism has to come in a little bit, or some of that grind that we always talk about has to kind of rise to the top and say, you know what, these are the cards we're dealt. This is still my career, and you're still my teammate, and we need to go out and find a way to win some ball games, whether it be, sacrificing dead chickens, whether it means, doing something maybe post game to get things going. But you've got to find a way to create a little continuity at home and go out and find ways to win.
Yeah, the whole narrative, I'm a little over it now that we've been up there for a while.
Yeah.
I was watching the game yesterday on Memorial Day between the Twins and Tampa Bay, and I can tell you, watching on television, it's a hell of a lot better than watching a game at the old Trop, because it was awful to watch.
That is true,
right? It looks so much better. The fans look like they're having a better time. I get the sense, though, like anything else, change is hard for people. I have a feeling we will all adapt, and by next year, because Tampa's going to be in the same situation, we're going to be in the same situation. I think once everybody goes through it for a full year, we'll be able to accept it a little more.
I agree, and guys are going to be a little more comfortable. I know that one thing that's always impressed me about the Oakland A's, even when you had rosters that were stacked, winning the American League West, was there was a certain continuity and a certain belief in the Coliseum when the A's were playing there. And even when you had the young talent that maybe wasn't as experienced and didn't have that pedigree under their belts at the big league level yet, there was always a certain, demonstrative attitude that said, we're going to go out and show you. And I remember that from my playing days with the Montreal Expos. We may not have been the big name quality talent yet, but we knew that we were good ball players and we were going to go out there and play like that as often as we possibly could. But I feel like the A's have always kind of played with that stigma. Oh, you got to go to the Oakland Coliseum. And they use that to their advantage. Why can't they do the same thing in Sacramento? Just use that vibe that's up there in Sacramento right now and use that to their advantage. Maybe they'll find it.
I totally agree. Looking at the Astros lineup right now, you're calling the games every day. Just how different is it? It just looks and feels different from afar.
I feel bad saying this because, they've still got a pretty good team. I like some of the guys that are on that ball club, but there has been so much change in the last 6-7 months on this roster, and watching them play this year in comparison to what we've been watching over the last 8 or 9 years, it's a little boring, to be brutally honest. We had a stretch here against Seattle. They did win 3 out of 4, which was great. But at the same time, we had a stretch of about 23, 24 hits in a row that were all singles. And that's not something I'm used to over here, watching this team go out there and slug with the Correas, the Bregmans, the Tuckers, the Yordan Alvarez's. It's just a different ball club. And I think we're starting to feel them out a little bit and see what they're doing. But it's definitely not the same. It's a team that plays well at home, has not been good on the road. The starting rotation is beat up except for Fromber and Hunter. But the bullpen, the one bright shining spot has been the bullpen. The bullpen has been absolutely locked down from long guy to closer in Josh Hader. So that's been a plus. That's been different for us this year.
Yeah, when you watch all the highlight shows, I mean, like a big highlight, I was watching Correa yesterday. I know Bregman's hurt in Boston, but obviously Bregman was such a huge part. Kyle Tucker's having a great year with the Chicago Cubs. Just you mentioned swagger. They lost some of their swagger guys. Is it? Can you say that it's a little bit different because a lot of guys who brought some edge aren't there anymore?
No, you're 100% right. And I remember when we brought over Michael Brantley, he's the guy that kind of instilled that mentality that we can go into places and be okay being the bad guy and understanding that we are better than other people. That kind of progressed into the Carlos Correa, progressed into the Alex Bregman that became a pretty vocal leader in the clubhouse. And even to a certain point, it was Kyle Tucker who every time he stepped into the box, he was going to say that you're not going to beat me. And I think there is a little bit of an identity crisis with this team because you have leaders in Jose Altuve, Jeremy Pena. Jeremy Pena's done a good job of stepping up, both with the bat, and I think he's kind of the way he plays kind of sets the tone for this team. Since he's moved into that leadoff spot. And then you have Yordan Alvarez, but they're not those vocal guys that are going to step up, put a foot down if something's not going right or go talk to a pitcher in a given moment to try and settle them down. So there is a little bit of that edge and a little bit of that swagger that has gone. And I think that right now they're trying to figure out, who's going to fill that void moving forward.
It was a weird spring training for Jose Altuve. He's not off to the best start. How do you evaluate his first third of the season?
I think he's trying to figure out who he is. He was always that all-star MVP second baseman for the Astros that went out there and hit 300 no matter what he was doing. The one thing that really kind of caught me in spring training and some of the interviews he did is he kept saying that he was 35. And he just had a birthday 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago where he actually turned 35. So I wonder if it's a little in his head and you become an aging ball player. I was never to the extent that Jose Altuve was, but you start to understand maybe your mortality a little bit in the game when you get to that 35-year-old stage. And that's kind of what it feels like with Jose Altuve. The move to left field has been okay. The arm isn't all that great, but I think we all understood that. Just make the catch and continue to hit. But I think that he's kind of understanding that the game is getting a little bit harder for a guy that's made 12 years in the big leagues look relatively easy.
Yeah, he's been such a great player. How do you break down, and it really is wide open, how do you break down the American League West?
To be honest, I was hoping you wouldn't ask me this question because I know that you're watching it as well, and you're kind of looking at it going, it could be that team for a week. It could be that team for a week.
No doubt.
You know, where are we at? And we felt like having the Seattle Mariners in our ballpark coming in as a first-place team against the Astros being that second-place team, and I didn't walk away from the series. Even with the Astros winning 3 out of 4, I didn't walk away from that series saying, well, damn, it's the Astros again. I kind of felt like it could be, and then I watched the Seattle Mariners, and if their pitching staff gets healthy, I'm like, it could be them. But their offense has kind of backed off a little bit from how they started. So I'm kind of have no idea, Towny. I mean, you tell me, because there were moments where I'm going, wow, the Angels are making a move. Or there's moments where I'm going, wow, the A's having a lot of good young talents playing, kind of invigorated. I'm going, so I don't know. I wish I did.
In the back of my mind, I always think you can't count out the Astros.
Yeah, I just feel like in the long term, there is a little bit of that stigma. Like we said, it's not necessarily that swagger, but there's a little bit of stigma that walks with these guys when they go through the American League West and says, you know what? It has to be the Astros that we have to go through. And, you know, even when we spent time in Arlington playing against the Texas Rangers, they split that series. And I kind of let that series go, man, DeGrom, Evaldi, some of these guys are going. But then I watched their lineup, and the offense is probably what's going to determine what happens in the West, because I feel like the pitching is there for all of the teams. You're just not seeing any of these offenses really take off and say, we're going to match up with what the pitching is doing and take off. It's just not there for me. I'm not thoroughly excited about any of the teams right now.
I know you know AJ Hinch. Would you fully buy in on the Tigers right now, a third of the way in?
I would, and I think that, you know, there's always an opportunity to get better, because I know behind the scenes AJ Hinch is probably pressing, the powers that be that hold the wallet and the ability to trade to maybe go get some guys, because I think that AJ's trying to pull all the strings, you know, moving Javi Baez to center field, what he's getting from Tarek Skubal. AJ does a very good job of understanding, those windows, so to speak, on when you can go out there and win. And if he feels that there's something out there that would make his team better, I'm sure he's bringing it up. But it's amazing to watch what he's able to do with the talent he currently has in Detroit. But I would imagine they might be the real deal.
Do you know what happened 20 years ago this year?
I do. And I went through we went through Chicago earlier in the year, and I got treated like royalty when we went back through there. And I will be there for the festivities right before the All-Star break to celebrate it.
Your World Series home run. You're part of a statue that's unbelievable. I mean, that get together is probably going to be, because with everything going on in Chicago, but that get together, I bet is going to be incredible for you guys.
It should be. You know, I feel like every year we're removed from it, the more you reminisce and the more you appreciate what was actually there, and you actually appreciate how maybe odd it was because of that crew. And one thing that continually pops up with that team when we talk about it is how unorthodox we were. We were just a band of misfits that found our way into a clubhouse. There'd be days we showed up, and it's eerily reminiscent of those 70s Oakland A's teams where in the clubhouse, it could have been a party or it could have been a fight. But once you got on the field, all of a sudden the other team was just going to take it on the chin because we were going to go out there and beat you. But those are some of the fun stories I look forward to catching up with some of the guys. It was a great group of dudes.
That's so awesome. World Series hero. By the way, the kids are back. Year one at Cal was a success.
How's it going?
Both are economics majors, all A's for both twins. They survived. One's a cheerleader. Both are in the same sorority. That scared me a little bit, but all A's first year in. And as I tell everybody, I am a major investor in the University of California at Berkeley.
Yes, I appreciate that. And I also appreciate it because I've got 3 at Arkansas, 1 at LSU. So I'm a heavy donor to the Arkansas program out there as well. But tell them congrats and a tip of the hat to you, Towny, for encouraging them and getting them there.
We can't wait to see you in West Sacramento, man. It's been a long time. I hope all is well with you, the family, and everybody, and we'll see you soon.
I look forward to it, Towny. Always good talking with you, and I look forward to seeing you guys as well. Be good.
All right, Blummer, be well. One of the greatest guys in the history of our game. hero. We always like to bring him on, too, as a great Cal Bear. His number's not retired, is it?
I don't think so.
No, I don't think it's retired. Playing for Bob Milano and help Cal get to the College World Series. He's a special guy. But, yeah, looking at that lineup today, it's clear the Astros, it's a completely different look. It's a completely different team. And that's why the Athletics, I'm not trying to sell there's a super chance, but 7 games back, once again, if you can get to 500 and climb that mountain, I mean, this thing is nobody is that great of a team.
I agree. I mean, Seattle, you think would be the front runner because of their pitching and their offense has been pretty good. And Kyle Raleigh's I wouldn't say MVP dark horse. He's an MVP candidate. I mean, he's having a great year. Someone, I think it was MLB.com, did on pace projections, and they did judge. They said the big dumper is on pace for 55 home runs. I'd love to see a catcher at 55 home runs. I just don't think he's going to get there, but he's a guy that buoys their offense. And other than that, I mean, Jorge Polanco, I mean, there's not a lot of guys. I mean, Julio's not really doing much. I mean, so Texas has the offense, or they have the pitching. Their offense has been the issue. And then Seattle now aren't they going to aren't they using a 6-man rotation?
They're about to go to a 6-man.
Because I think they want to do that to conserve the health of Brian Wu, who great pitcher, and Kirby's not back, but Wu always gets hurt. So I think they want to try to conserve having Wu pitch most of the season because he does tend to go down, and he does have a good track record against the A's. So whenever they play the A's and Mariners matchup. And then Houston's Houston. I mean, you still got Pena, you still got Altuve. I mean, Yordan Alvarez.
Altuve's not having a good year.
Yeah, he's not. I mean, his average against fastballs and all that stuff is not great. But Blummer said he's 30. He's had a birthday. He's 35 now. I mean, he's playing left field. I mean, there's another guy who moved positions because they wanted to get someone else play there, but Rafi Devers won't go play third base again. But I digress. But Yordan Alvarez will be back, and you know what kind of player he is when he's back. But Christian Walker's been a disappointment.
Yeah, he just had the walk-off home run against Seattle, but he's only hitting .212 with a .629 OPS.
Yeah, he's been disappointed. And the catcher, Yainer Diaz, hasn't had the year I don't think they expected him to have. But
yeah, he's hitting .229.
But guys like Hunter Brown, who owned the A's in his career, that's like a guy that's him and Fromber have been great. And then the rest of their pitching. But Callers is back, which is really good to see because he hasn't pitched since 2022 in the postseason. So having him back is a good addition for the Astros, but the rest of their pitching has just been up in the air. Ronel Blanco is now on the injured list because he's had a shoulder issue. So the Astros are, they're fighting through it, and they're not the Astros of old when they just came in and took everyone's lunch money, as you like to say. This is not our early 2020s Astros anymore.
That's what pains you about what's happened with the A's in that losing streak. It's anybody's game.
Yeah.
And, it hurts. Because if I sent this to you guys early, Ken Korak brought this up. If I would have told you that the A's are second in batting average in the American League, third in home runs and OPS, fourth in runs, is all in the American League.
Mm-hmm. So
your top 5 in average home runs and OPS, you'd be 8 games under 500.
Well, I objectively can't take myself out of the equation, but I'd say if I wasn't around it every day, I'd say, well, that's surprising, but we know why the team is 8 games under 500. And I'm not talking about just a losing streak. I mean, that's obvious, but the pitching's got to get better. I mean, JP Sears has pitched well in Houston, and the team's pitched better. I think the notes had the splits for how we do on the road versus at home. I mean, it just all that has to improve, not just starters, but the bullpen ERA, which has been awful. That all has to get better. Where Houston's bullpen has been dynamic and carrying them. Guys like Hader and Montero's gone. Let's see, Montero's gone. Presley's gone. All the guys that you think of in their bullpen, they're all gone. It's all new guys that are in there essentially for them. And I think this will be only the 6th time this year they face a left-handed starting pitcher. I think they're 3-2 versus lefties this year. So this will be the 6th time, I believe, they will face a lefty with JP Sears.
A's starting pitchers in Sacramento have a 5.93 ERA and have allowed 50 home runs.
That's not good. That's not going to get it done. You got to find a way to, because other teams are coming. We talk about this all the time, and I bring it up every time we're in West Sacramento with Steve Sachs too. These other teams are coming into the ballpark there, and they're not having troubles hitting or pitching. And there's guys you look, they go out there and you're like, how's this guy shoving against us? But I don't know if it's a mentality thing. I don't know how to fix it. I mean, I'm not a pitching guru. I'm not a mentalist. I'm not a psychologist, but that's the number one thing. They have to get better at home. I mean, Tampa's been turning it around at home. They're 500 now. They also went on a long winning streak. But
how much of it is they've played a lot of National League at home?
That doesn't help because you're not used to seeing that.
The good National League too.
Yeah, we're not talking about the Pirates, and you played Colorado in Colorado, but you're not talking about the Pirates
Miami
and the Reds.
Miami.
Yeah. So you're seeing the Phillies, the Mets, the Padres. The Cubs. You saw the Dodgers in LA, but still, you're playing all these tough NL teams. But all these good NL teams are coming to the ballpark in West Sacramento, and some of your wins you got at the ballpark there were, you beat up on the White Sox. I mean, they're rebuilding. So those are the teams you should beat, which is what they've done. It's just they haven't been able to live up to the competition like a Philly or San Diego, the Seattle series, the Yankee series. It's just been bad. But now that we're into the mindset and the schedule where it's going to be all AL teams until the 4th of July weekend, maybe so we can make up some ground and try to get to 500 by August 15th. We said they have to go, 43 and 35 the rest of the way, including today, to get to 500 by August 15th. It's doable, but it all starts with the pitching, in my opinion, that you have to get the pitching to turn around. And it starts tonight with JP Sears, who, I mean, I know Luis Severino's, well, he's not in it. He's not your ace. There's not many aces in baseball, but he's your club.
He's
leader.
Your ace on the road.
Yes. Well, yeah. Second best ERA on the road behind it. Well, I haven't seen what Fried's is, but before it was Fried at 0.71 and Sevy was at 0.72. So it all starts with these two guys going in the series against Houston. If you can win both, sweep the Astros in this 2-game set, then go into Toronto, who's, I guess you could say they're underperforming. Vlad Guerrero, I haven't heard about anything about him, and he signed that major $500 million contract. Santander hasn't been good. Chris Bassett's been decent for them, but a lot of their guys haven't really done anything either. They've just been kind of middling around 500 in mediocrity in the AL East, right? I think I don't have the MLB, the AL East standings in front of me, but yeah, they're 26 and 27, so they're a game under, and they're awful on the road. And well, I mean, what's Vlad hitting this year?
I'm looking up right now. 279.
Okay, I mean, is that $500 million worth good? But
808 OPS, 279, 7 bombs, 23 RBIs.
Okay, I mean, here's Santander. He's hitting 189, 6 home runs, 18 RBIs, and is a negative.
So your big
0.64.
investments have not shown up.
No, and it's the same thing. Like, not to go off on the Orioles, but the Orioles the same thing. Like, they let guys go and they invested on Tyler O'Neill, and Charlie Morton pitched well yesterday. Give him credit, he won 6 innings, and they got the win. They've won 3 straight, I think. But they've all the guys they invested in. I think Hembo did it. Paul Hembekides of ESPN. The guys they've invested in pitching wise they've all produced a negative WAR for them. That's not good.
No,
that's not good if you want to try to win.
Let's go over the moves. What were the moves today?
So Nick Kurtz is now on the injured list, 15-day IL retroactive to May 25th with a strained left hip flexor, and Drew Avens is up from AAA. The team also acquired Sean Newcomb from the Red Sox for cash considerations and to clear space on the 40-man roster. The A's designated Matt Crook, friend of the program, and Ryan Cusick for assignment, and Seth Brown he cleared waivers and was outrighted to Las Vegas. So there's your moves that happened. Cusick, surprising for me, he never debuted for the team. He was another guy that was a part of the Matt Olson trade. So now we're down to Joey Estes and Shea Langoliers that are left in that deal. But Avens now up. He was killing it in AAA. He had really good numbers up there or down there. So he's up. Kurtz on the 10-day IL retroactive to May 25th. So hopefully sometime in early June we get him back in the lineup because he was starting to play really well.
Now, Brown still has to accept.
Yes, I think he could decline it and become a free agent, but I don't know.
But if he does, the contract is nil after that.
Yeah, and then he could just sign anywhere. I mean, it could be a Rocky. I mean, the Rockies just signed Orlando Arcia, who the Braves has DFA'd a few days ago. So he could be a guy that goes somewhere like there, or Cincinnati or Pittsburgh, or any team needs offense. The White Sox, a guy that could use a left-handed power bat off the bench. But Avens was hitting 326 with 4 home runs and 34 RBIs and 30 walks and a 414 on base in AAA. You hear that? 30 walks and a 414 on base. Sounds like an A already.
Well, you start looking at the numbers of what he brings.
And 16 steals.
Yeah, the 326 steals, can play defense all over. The one thing that the A's, if my number can get right, which is play 43 and 35 ball to be 500 by August 15th, the defense has to get better.
Yeah, I mean, I think when we looked the other day, they were second worst in defensive run saved. If you look at the metric on that, only the Rockies were a worse team when it came to defense. I think having him in center field, having Clark in center field will help that out a lot. I mean, Denzel Clark has tracked balls really well. Nothing against JJ Bleday, but he was not good at tracking balls in the outfield. And it showed, and that's why now there's a move made to have him up, have Clark up, and then now have Avens up, who will probably play. I don't think he's in the lineup today, but he's not. But having Clark here and Avens here will help the center field and outfield defense for sure. Hasn't been great, but it could get better with these guys here, and that's just something you want some steps in the right direction. I think this is one way to do it. And then obviously having Kurtz at first base, he's made some really nice scoops and plays at first base that saved the infielders from some throwing errors for sure.
It's just sad the way he was starting to hit.
Yeah. What was it? 4 home runs in 4 games. And then,
yeah, just driving in runs. It was like almost 400. The game was starting to slow down for him.
And he runs really, for how big he is. Me and Sachs were talking about that, and Sachs brought it up again. He was like, for how big he is, he moves really fast. And it's a bummer to see what happened to him with the strained left hip flexor, but hopefully, he's back within the 10 days and, the A's catch up, make up some ground in the division. And it's not like he really missed a lot of time. Hopefully Logan Davidson can get some more bats. I know CJ Alexander's playing first today, but what Logan Davidson did over the weekend was nice to see. And then having Alexander, that would be great to have both of them in the lineup and hitting to make up for the space left by Nick Kurtz in the A's lineup. Johnny D is coming up next week. We got a break.
That's why I'm pointing.
I they're pointing at the lineup. Up next, Johnny D for Hot Take Tuesday right here on A's Cast Live.
Get your group together and check out all our great hospitality spaces for bonding opportunities, events, or a fun outing of your friends and family. There are 20, 50, and 100-person indoor suites available for select games, as well as an 80-person open-air area with a shaded cover. Secure your group today at athletics.com/hospitality. Versatile infielder and outfielder Max Schumann appeared on A's Cast Live with Towny to talk about embracing his role as a super utility player for Mark Kotsay.
Just going out there and being athletic in whatever position they decide to play me in that day, or whether it's off the bench, just go and be an athlete. I think that it translates so well whether you're in the batter's box or playing whatever position on the field. I mean, it doesn't matter. I think the more athletic you can be and getting into an athletic position, the more consistent you'll be overall.
You can watch the full interview at youtube.com/athletics or listen at athletics.com/A'sCast. For just $25, fans can sit in the general admission outfield grass for all regular season home games. Tickets for that day's game will open up daily at 9 a.m. for purchase at athletics.com/lawn. Sign up to receive A's alerts to receive a text the first morning of each home series as a reminder. For more information, visit athletics.com/lawn. A's top prospect Nick Kurtz shared the thrilling details of receiving the call about his MLB debut from Fran Reardon on A's Cast Live with Towny in West Sacramento.
I don't know if shock's the right word. I mean, I knew it could happen. I've been playing well in AAA, but I didn't know the timing of it all was a little bit. I was like, I just couldn't believe it. I was like, yeah, oh my God, it actually happened. Like it's here.
Kind of woke you up and you're like, is this a dream?
Yeah.
Talk about the story.
Yeah, no, like I was up that morning, then I kind of was like dozing off back to sleep and stuff, and I hear my phone buzzing. It's Fran. I'm like, okay, that's weird on an off day for him to be calling me. And then
answer. He tells me I'm going up. I'm just like, I was speechless. I was like, really? I was like, no way. Like, let's go. I'm excited.
You can watch the full interview at youtube.com/athletics or listen at athletics.com/A'sCast.
Streaming from NBC Sports, A's Cast Live continues with Chris Townsend.
Cody Elias, Chris Townsend with you here at A's Cast Live. Final segment coming up. You'll hear from Jed Lowrie in about 15 minutes. He caught up with Towny and Steve Sachs from the ballpark in West Sacramento on Saturday. But let's head out to Enron Field, Minute Maid, whatever we call the ballpark now, to talk to A's broadcaster Johnny D. Johnny D, what's up?
Hey, what's up, brothers? How are you?
I'm good. How are you? How's you? Okay, we didn't get a chance to ask Blummer. What do you call the ballpark now? How do we officially say the name?
Daikon Park.
Daikon Park.
Daikon.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Daikon Park.
Daikon. Oh, okay. John, we have confusion here. All right, so we got it. All right. So it's not Enron. It's not Minute Maid anymore.
No,
correct?
it's not. Daikon Park. Yep.
Okay. All right. Well, good to know.
What is it? Daikon?
Daikon. Yep.
All right. Well, what are you looking for from JP Sears tonight?
Well, you know, JP Sears had plenty of times he's pitched against this team. So no Yordan Alvarez, no Bregman, no Tucker. But, you know, they just finished 17 games. They won 10 out of 17. The Astros always seem to find a way, despite your hot take, Cody. The Astros find a way to be there in the end. So they're going to be 100 Browns. Besides that last start, it's been magnificent. So hopefully the A's can get to him today. But, yeah, it's always challenging with coming into this yard for sure.
It's weird, though, right? They just don't look like the same team.
No, it is.
Different people.
Definitely, bro. It's definitely different without Bregman and Tucker here. It is. It's just, I mean, you're so used to seeing them year after year, and no Alvarez right now in the lineup, but he's obviously with the club, but he's out. But yeah, it is different for sure. But they have some parts. They're going to be they'll find a way to be there in the end, despite Cody's hot take.
Yeah, that hot take's not. It's still not as bad as the Aaron Judge not having hit in West Sacramento when he was there and he got a hit.
Well, that was a blaze. You know what? That's one of those. You're a hero if you hit it, right? So I don't blame you.
Yeah, well, it didn't turn out well, and the Astros only won 5 100 round 6 starts in his career versus the A's. So I got to change that tonight at the ballpark.
Right, absolutely.
We were looking at the numbers. Are you shocked? Because a lot of these numbers include the Coliseum.
Yeah.
Are you shocked at how much better JP Sears has been on the road in his career than at home?
And that's career too, right? Like that's not just here. That's a great call, bro. Like, it's
Coliseum. I guess that'd be some Yankee Stadium and wherever you're going with the Yankees. But the majority of that at home is the Coliseum.
Yeah, it gets to a point where it's not coincidence, right? There are trends. So I don't know. I don't know what to make of it. I don't know if he has talked much about it. I'll ask him about it sometime. But it is, you're right. It is unique that he is such a better road pitcher than a home pitcher as far as the numbers are concerned. So yeah,
I was looking it up yesterday and it shocked me.
Yeah, right. It's alarming when you see it, right?
I never knew it. I if you would have said, well, he's way better on the road. Like, really?
Yeah, you talk about home and road splits for a career, not just a year, right? So it's wild.
Yeah, it's and he's pitched well in Houston,
which is a hitter-friendly ballpark. You're right, he has. Remember, he had this game, and I'll bring it up today on the broadcast too. He had that 37-pitch first inning against the Astros, and he was one pitch away from being taken out, and then he just pitched a gem after the first inning, like 16 out of 17. That's kind of microcosm of who he is. First inning trouble, and then finding a way, right? So,
what'd you guys do? Did you fly yesterday?
We flew in Sunday night. Yeah, flew in Sunday night. So I played some ping pong with Dallas. I got smoked again. Went to a great breakfast place called the Breakfast Club. Best soul food around. It's unbelievable. And then last night went to a nice dinner and walked around. And it's good to be back in Houston. I actually like this town a lot.
I do too.
Yeah.
One of the coolest bars I ever went to. I can't remember the name of the bar, but I have the pictures. In the back, they had a back secret bar, and it was a Magnum PI bar.
Wow.
So everything in there was Magnum PI, every drink. They were playing all the different Magnum PI shows. They had memorabilia. Yeah. It was one of the coolest bars I've ever had. There is some sneaky good fun. And Houston's the 4th largest city in the country.
It is. It's huge. And we're right downtown. I love it, man. I love coming
I like
here.
Houston.
Yeah.
A lot of trouble you can get into Houston. The arena where the Rockets play is old, but it's really cool. They still have they have the court in the arena where they won the 2 championships with the Olajuwon. Yeah, I think Houston is an underrated city.
I agree. I love it.
Toyota Center, I think it's what it's called, where the Rockets play. I think that's.
I like this ballpark too. I don't know if it's popular opinion, but I really enjoyed this ballpark very much. Yeah.
Yeah, why wouldn't you? What would be wrong with it?
I don't know. I think some people get on it because it's indoors and all that. I don't know. I like it.
Right?
Yeah, I feel like people kind of are down on this park sometimes when I talk about it. I love it. I think it's a really nice park. Yeah, I like it better than Texas ballpark. Yeah.
I've been to Texas.
Hot take.
Yeah, that's a brand
new.
That's
Tuesday.
I've been to that ballpark in Texas. It's nice. You know, walking around, I love that there's a different every couple steps. There's like different kiosks to get like alcohol and food and all. So like they built that part nice, and it was like 105 degrees out. And they announced like, hey, it's 105 up, but it's 72 and air conditioned in here. And I was like, oh, that's really great. Like the whole thing. And then I look up, up in the heavens, and I see you guys doing the game up there. And I'm like, oh, well, I can hear Korak now.
Well, part of it's that in Texas we're so high up, and I don't mind. And you get used to it after a while. But here it's a little more intimate setting. I feel from a broadcast standpoint, we're lower. I don't know. I just always love doing games here for some reason.
Are you ready? Are you ready for Hot Take?
I'm ready for Hot Take Tuesday. Let's roll.
Every once in a while, you hear a really good sports hot take.
Mark this and remember what I told you. The Yankees will not win the World Series.
The Astros will go 17-8 in the month of June, which will propel them to a top, pretty close to a top, the AL West.
Paul Skeens will pitch in the Major League Baseball All-Star Game this season.
Then you hear some really bad hot takes.
The St. Louis Cardinals are going to win the NL Central. Book it.
Angel Hernandez retiring is bad for baseball.
Aaron Judge did not record a hit this weekend against the A's.
Oh, my gosh.
Well, on A's Cast Live, all takes are hot takes. It's time for Hot Takes Tuesday with Chris Townsend, only on A's Cast Live.
It's the best. It's second to none. It never gets old. It's the greatest.
Well, I need to put your Nick Kurtz will have 3 home runs at Oracle Park in there. I just haven't had a chance to do it. I'll put it in there for sure next week when we're back in West Sacramento.
Oh, by the way, you want to talk about bringing me down today?
I know. Oh, Kurtz on the IL.
Oh.
Yeah, that hurt. That hurt for sure, no doubt.
Well, even in the notes, at the MLB notes, it's like, well, Kurtz is expected back in the lineup today. It's like, don't give us hope like that.
Yeah.
He's just starting to figure it out.
I know. You're starting to roll. That was like, oh my gosh. Yeah. I feel like I got a pretty good hot take today, man.
All right. Well, you can kick it off. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, you guys know about the Padres clubhouse issues right now, right? You guys know what's going on there, right? They're having some issues in their clubhouse. And this is going to propel this team to go on a slide. And the Padres will not be in the 2025 postseason. Wow. The Padres are going to go into a slide despite that pitching, despite those bats. The Padres will end up not being in the postseason this year.
Will A.J. Preller lose his job finally after all these years?
That's for the people with the big bucks to find out, to make that decision. But look, it's not gonna help his cause not making the playoffs this year.
No. 2 games back in the West.
Yep.
And they are the second wild card as of right now.
Right. Yep.
I like it.
That's pretty good. Saying a team like the Padres who have, they were bad. When the A's were losing, when the A's were on a losing streak and the Padres weren't doing well, they were the only team with the worst batting average with runners in scoring position. So I could see it happening. Do you want me to go or do you want to go?
Go ahead.
So all the talk about Towny throwing to the media that apparently had to wait in the stands. They couldn't go on the field when Towny was pitching. He had to wait all the media had to wait in the stands in New York to see him throw his bullpen or whatever he was doing. And he was topping out at 97, which is great. Dodgers need some starting pitching, this and that. My hot take is Shohei Ohtani will record several saves for the Dodgers in 2025.
Wow, okay.
You want to work him back into the rotation? Why not have him be your closer there's so many injuries everywhere for the Dodgers. Wouldn't that be the best way to do it? Have him.
That's a really good hot take, and I've said all along that I think the Dodgers would be dumb to just rush him. I know they have injuries and everything, but just slow play him as much as you can. Have him ready for the postseason. Regular season, you're going to do your Dodger thing. Save him for the playoffs. Build him up, but don't rush him because you're right. These injuries are so commonplace now. So I agree with you. That's a good hot take. I like it.
How many saves?
I would have said saves. I'll start. We'll go 3, at least 3.
And does this open up for the future of him basically being a high leverage reliever?
I think so. I think you could have the whole thing where he plays 8 innings as a DH and then he goes in and pitches a 9th. That'd be great to see. It's great television.
Yeah, it's tough. I don't know. I like the take. I just don't know if he's going to play in a game and then all of a sudden close the game. I don't know.
It's very college feel, right?
Yeah, no doubt.
He has to close games.
Yes.
Not pitch the 8th or the 7th. It's got to be.
You have to get a save.
The final out.
Yeah.
So that's a creative hot take. I like it.
Are you guys ready for mine?
Yeah. What do you got?
All right, you guys know I grew up in the South, right?
Yeah.
I'm going back to my Southern roots because I'm tired of all you East Coast honks, you Northeast guys, and you sit there and you live in your little Northeast world, and you act like us people from the South don't matter anymore. North versus the South. You might have heard of the Civil War. I'm going back to my Southern roots. Are you saying I didn't grow up South?
I'm
not questioning you.
Technically, you did grow up below the Mason.
San Diego is not south of here?
You did grow up below the Mason-Dixon line. So
I grew up in the South. Now, San Diego's pretty south in the United States of America.
Fact. And like I said, it's below the Mason-Dixon line.
Did I not grow up watching TBS?
You did. Superstation.
Was I not there for the lean years of Rick Mailer and Gene Garber? My guy Dale Murphy?
Should be in the Hall of Fame.
Oh, yeah. My Atlanta Braves. Yeah. You guys, I listened to you, Johnny. You guys were kissing the Phillies behind. Juan Soto is here. Oh, Juan Soto in the contract. My Atlanta Braves are back. Huge series this weekend against the Philadelphia Phillies. 2 games over 500. Book it now. Atlanta comes all the way back with one of the greatest teammates and guys of all time, Ronald Acuna Jr. Talk about a leader in the clubhouse. The Atlanta Braves, book it, will come all the way back and win the National League East over a Phillies team that has no bullpen and the Mets with Juan Soto, who are going to continue to struggle. The Atlanta Braves have found it. They are back. Acuna's back. Strider's back. The Atlanta Braves. What's the date today?
May 27th.
May 27th. Book it.
Mark the tape.
The Atlanta Braves will win the American League East and have great comebacks because they started out so bad. They're hot, back over 500, and now they'll end up taking the division.
I'll tell you this. I usually don't write hot takes down in my book, but because that hot take is so hot, I'm writing it down, Towny.
I read them all down, Johnny. I have all of them going back to last year. And
I love it, Towny. I love it. I love it.
I go back to Joe Torre as the Braves manager.
Wow.
Bob Horner.
Glenn Hubbard.
Yes.
Bruce Benedict. Yes.
I remember when Sid Brown. I won't go there. It's so tough for me when I was, 3 when that.
David
that
Justice is a good friend.
He is a friend.
My bravos.
I think we have 3 quality hot takes. We really do.
All right, Johnny, we got to get to Jed. Have a good call.
Bye, Johnny.
See you guys.
Hey, by the way, happy early birthday.
Thank you. Appreciate
Enjoy it. See ya. Yeah, we should get to Jed.
Jed Lowrie stopped by the ballpark in West Sacramento. Of course, we had to get to our buddy Jed. I love me some Jed Lowrie. Here he is on A's Cast. Up to the ballpark in West Sacramento. He's one of our all-time favorites. With the A's, a former all-star, 3 different times with the A's. He was a star at Stanford. The biggest part of his career, obviously, was in the Bay Area from college to the pros and meeting his wife. It is always great to have you back here on A's Cast.
Thank you, Towny. Always good to be here.
Jed, when I think about your career with the A's, I always look back with such fond memories. the different tours, the All-Star game, all the doubles. Just when you go back into that clubhouse and you get to see Mark Kotsay and the coaches, what is that like for you?
I just walked through. It's the same cast of characters, and it's just so refreshing to be able to see that, catch up with everybody. I got Cliffy, and I got Brian, and I got Sean, and I got who am I missing? Maddie. And I think somebody made the comment, there's not very many people that can get all four of us in the gym at the same time. And I happened to be talking to Cuffy at the same time, and they walked in, and so we were catching up. Yeah.
Jed, so good to be with you today. And, not so long ago you were out there on the field yourself, but how much do you see this game changing? It seems to be on hyper mode right now, blasting forward. What do you see as far as the changes in the game?
Yeah, no, I got to see it kind of towards the tail end of my career. You see a lot more output, like expectation, higher velocities, higher spin rates, the things that guys are being judged on too. And then on the position player side, you see a lot of bat speed metrics now, where, it's not, there are some quality contact metrics, but it seemingly going back towards the, like, how much output can you actually produce?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hear you.
Well, I think it was key for you to stay in baseball. I mean, obviously you're one of the brightest players that we have ever been around. And I know you got the kids right now, so you don't have the same time maybe you could have like back in the playing days for maybe a coaching, but being in baseball and staying in the commissioner's office, what's that meant to you? Yeah, no, it's been everything. And the CAP program, this commissioner's ambassador program, has just been an amazing touch point for me. Just learning the different aspects of the game, everything that goes into putting on a season, how players are evaluated, and then just getting opportunities to stay connected with the guys that are in that program. I mean, I feel fortunate to be included in a group like that. I feel like I had a good career, and then I look around the room and I'm like, I don't know why I'm here. But at the same time, like, I try to, provide however I feel about the game, some insights, and how, anything to move the game forward. Well, and I think about that office. You got the guys in the office, Dan Otero.
Yeah, Dan. Yep.
Who else is in it?
Gregor Blanco is in there. Rajay Davis is in there.
You got a bunch of former A's in there.
There's a lot of former A's in there. So good group of guys.
Jed, where do you see this going for you? I mean, I know you love being with the game. I think we all just cherish that. Do you see this in the front office, that type of thing, or do you want to get back on the field someday?
Yeah. I mean, if I had to pick between those two, I'd probably say front office.
Okay.
The coaching lifestyle is it's tough, right?
Yeah.
Like, you're living the same lifestyle. The travel is hard.
It is.
You never say never.
Right.
But if sitting here today, if I had to pick one of the two, I would probably say more front office.
And now you're doing a little bit of the media side. Our old buddy Eno Saris, our national baseball columnist from The Athletic, comes on the program all the time. You're now doing a podcast. How's that been?
Great. Rates and Barrels. Check it out. I co-host once a week on Wednesdays, and we have a blast. I mean, we get to, really go through the topics of the day and really the week. And then we do like deeper dives on, trends of certain players or, like as you know, is very analytical.
Very.
I'm an analytical player, but I'm still a player. And so I try to bring it, that perspective of like the emotional aspect of the game, right? Like being in big moments, being in big spots, and just trying to bring the human side of that, to the equation. Because, is going to he's going to have all the numbers. He's going to have everything to back up everything. And I just want to remind people that these are human beings playing the game.
Jed, where do you, if you were playing today, I mean, you had some serious pop when you played. Yeah. Would you try to even augment that with the fact that so many other organizations love the distance? They love this, they love the exit velo and all that. Yeah. Would you be more immersed in that, where would you just be the player that you were?
Yeah, I want to say I would, have been the player that I was, but I think that's hard. That's hard to say if I'm being evaluated, one way or another, right? Yeah. Like all these guys, they're, in a sense, they're independent contractors, right? Yeah. Like they're all kind of they're all taking ownership of their own careers. But you're responding to the incentives that are put in front of you. Yeah. And if your incentive is, to launch the ball on the pull side, right? Then, if that's what I'm being told is going to get me promoted or to get to the big leagues or to, make money in arbitration, I'm going to, I'm going to do the things that I'm incentivized by.
Yeah, because I see in batting practice, for instance, Towny, we've talked about this before, where you don't see as much as, down through the baseball, use a big part of the field, keep your hands inside the ball. lots of times that back shoulder's dipping a little bit, and they're trying to hit that ball in the stratosphere.
Yeah.
In BP too. So
Sure.
you wonder, they're really gunning for that type of an output.
Yeah, and I think intent means everything, right?
Yeah.
Like baseball people sometimes forget that there's actually a pitcher standing 60 feet away from you trying to get you out.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
none of this stuff happens in a vacuum, right? And if you are in BP and they're throwing it into the same spot at the same speed every time, you can manipulate the ball a lot easier that way. Yeah. And trust me, like I didn't go up there trying to hit singles, right? I was looking for pitches that I could drive, but I also knew certain guys that, if they had their good stuff that day or I wasn't feeling well, like I had to change my intent based on, different circumstances.
Yeah.
But if you go up there with the same intent in every single at bat, it's really hard to sustain success that way.
Yeah, situational hitting certainly matters.
Yeah, situational hitting matters, and like I said, I never went up there trying to launch the ball per se, but I was always looking to drive the ball, right? Yeah. And the difference, the difference to me is like finding it at a good contact point. And actually, the last show we did on Rates and Barrels, we talked a lot, like some of these new metrics that are coming out on Baseball Savant. I don't know if you've seen these, where they're talking about tilt. And then contact points. And so it's going to be really interesting to see, kind of as these leaderboards continue to flesh out over the course of the year, how the tilt on the swing matches with the bat speed, matches with output. Because I said this on the podcast, is like my hope is we come to the recognition that there's no one way to be productive in a major league uniform, right? That fact. Yeah, right. Because like I look at a guy like Jacob Wilson, right? He actually has like a pretty high tilt in his swing, right? With a relatively low bat speed. So if Jacob Wilson, if they're like, hey, we need higher bat speeds out of you, I actually think that would be counterproductive across the course of the season, because some of these balls that, he's hitting hard back up the middle that are line drives or, that are going in front of the outfielders, if he starts hitting those balls even harder, they're going to end up right in the outfielder's glove.
Absolutely.
Right? And so,
right.
And Luis Arraez, same thing, right? Like here's a guy who, has a very high tilt to his swing with a relatively low bat speed, but is highly productive. Right. It's in a way that's different than just the Aaron Judge, right? And everybody wants to be Aaron Judge. Yeah. I want to be Aaron Judge, sure. Right? Like these are the unicorns. And if you look at, look at that leaderboard list with the tilt on the swing, if you look at the top down, the guys with the highest tilt, there's a lot of guys that have a low bat speed on it. But Judge is a unicorn in the sense that he actually can create a lot of bat speed with a high tilt. And that's a guy who, is really a tight end playing baseball.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, defensive end playing.
Defensive end.
And you think about when you said there's a lot of ways to do it, and it doesn't matter what sport. You look at Steph Curry shooting from down here versus Larry Bird was up here, right? Look at all the golfers that are different. There's a lot of different ways to do it. The one thing that you were so great at was the extra base hit, the double.
Yeah.
There was something about you had that. Have you looked now back at metrics and ever figured out why you were so good at hitting doubles?
Yeah, actually, I looked at Baseball Savant the other day on my 2017 and 2018 seasons, and I was actually I was surprised how high I was on some of these metrics and where I stood in the league. I always knew that I had a good eye and my approach was good, but then I looked at like the percentiles where I was in the league, and it was a little shocking to me. I guess I didn't recognize I was that high up the list in some of, in my approach. But yeah, no, it's fun to look back and think about your career. I always joke that I wasn't strong enough to hit, 30 homers, and I wasn't fast enough to hit 20 triples. So I hit a lot of doubles.
A lot of doubles.
That's great.
You were an extra base hitting machine.
That's right.
We used to call you. It was a lot of fun. And looking back on your career, I'm wondering, we talked a lot. I remember you worked with Robbie Grossman. We talked about switch hitting and how tough it was because you have to work on both swings.
Yes.
Would you still switch hit? And do you think switch hitting's pretty much going to go by the wayside?
That's an interesting thought. I think with the restriction on shift, I actually think some of the benefit of switch hitting is coming back. Because I really experienced that towards later in my career when we had three guys on the right side of the infield, or quite frankly, three on the left side when I was hitting right-handed. So I think some of the benefit of being a switch hitter is going to come back. I think what I've realized too is in my routine, I'd actually practice 9 different contact points, right? Like you look at the strike zone, it's built on the 9 boxes. Right. And so I would work on those 9 pitches at each contact point, in, middle, away. So in all reality, I had 18 swings that I worked on. right? Because I kind of had 9 swings to each
both
spot,
sides.
right? Because really what I wanted to do is I wanted to ingrain that muscle memory. So where, I'm in the game, I'm not thinking, I'm just reacting to where the pitch is, right? And because I've taken so many swings to all these different contact points, that it just happens.
Wow. See, guys at Stanford can do that. Just a high school graduate like me. We I always looked at it this way. Well, if I hit a double or I hit a home run, my exit velo was right and my launch angle was okay. I can't understand the rest. But I wanted to ask you a little bit about the exit velo, because when you break it down, I mean, a bunt has a very low exit velo, but it's very effective.
Yes.
A rise has one of the slowest bats. You mentioned Jacob Wilson as well as exit velo. I'm sure Rod Carew's exit velo wasn't really great either. But there's still effectiveness in these guys who can hit this way.
But that and there's like once again, like that is not like that's not how I'm gonna like judge a guy, right? Like I look at Jacob Wilson as a highly productive player who I want in my lineup every single day, setting the table for all of these guys. And then I also know when the lineup flips back over, I got a guy who's gonna put the ball in play and make good things happen. So I think that, like I said, my hope is that as we dive in more to these swing metrics, we recognize that there isn't one blueprint on how to do it. And you can have guys, and I think that's the beauty of baseball as well, is that there really are many different ways to be productive in the game. And I think that's what has always made baseball a strong, there's a strong connection between fans and the players because you see yourself and you can find somebody to see yourself in on the baseball field.
Everybody likes to play baseball.
Yeah.
It seems. They can.
Well, one of my favorite things, and let's end on this. One of my favorite things was always when you'd come back to spring training and the exotic vacations that the Lowries used to. Now, the kids are getting older. We got any big vacations? Have we done anything recently?
Yeah. So I got to go to Tokyo for the opening series, right? So I was there. Yeah, I was there for the Dodgers Cubs, and then the family came over and we did a 2-week trip through Tokyo. So we got to do Tokyo, Kyoto, Osaka, and then we went to a small town kind of further up north called Kaga Onsen. And we stayed at a ryokan up there, which is pretty special.
Japan's amazing.
Oh my God, I love it so much. My son came back, said that he wanted to study Japanese and go live there after college. Granted, that's an 8-year-old, so grain of salt. Yeah. And then my daughter was like, she would go back tomorrow.
Wow,
he's one of the most fascinating A's we've ever had.
Amazing, Jed, it's great to meet you.
It's great to meet you, Steve. Yeah, absolutely.
So glad to meet you.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, all the success in the world
Thank
to
you,
you, the
Thank
family,
you,
and
Tom.
everything. And don't be a stranger.
No,
we got to have
absolutely.
you on more often.
Yeah, you say the word. You know where to find me. And even if it's just on Zoom.
He's the all-star Jed Lowrie right here on A's Cast.
The A's YouTube page is your go-to destination for A's video content. Get access to great highlights, exclusive behind-the-scenes content, classic games, A's Cast Live, and more. Visit youtube.com/athletics.
This has been a presentation